Hey there and happy Wednesday. So as promised, I am coming to you with the bundle. I'm inspiring you with the Adventure Together bundle, and it's that cute little camper. And I don't know why I always want to confuse the title of this bundle with that one train set, the online exclusive, The Greatest Adventure. So Adventure Together, Greatest Adventure, but this is Adventure Together. So I think that maybe together, you probably put more than one person in a camper. So that's how I'm always trying to think, like, okay, how can I get the names straight for that? So because both is something you travel in for some kind of adventure, right? All right, so hopefully you guys are having a good Wednesday. Let me get the camera turned around. And yeah, I'm just happy to be here with you guys a little bit earlier than yesterday. And I've done some stamping already in my craft room today, so that's exciting for me to be able to do some of that quiet time. It's been quiet around the house here. Kind of, I think, like almost the lull before the storm with the new catalog around the corner and such. And so with that, I want to show you this Adventure Together. I've shown it before, but like, it's been really popular. People are loving it. This camper can be made up in so many cute ways. I even said it kind of reminded me of the Mystery Machine on Scooby-Doo, which that maybe shows my age, but it was like such a thrill to come home. And I always hoped the bus would get me home in time for Scooby-Doo to start. Usually it was about 10 to 4, and Scooby-Doo must have started at 4. So it was kind of enough time to quick raid the fridge and get the channel turned in, not by remote, you know, we couldn't have those back in the day, but to get that tuned into Scooby-Doo. And then we've got the trees and all the other fun things. And so today's card actually uses every one of these stamps except for the large tree. I could have, but I just didn't think it was necessary. And then the dies that go with this, I kind of want to show this a little bit more just because it's an online exclusive, and because of that, it's not in any catalog. It might be a little bit easier for me to show you than you to try and find it, but all you have to do is put Adventure Together in the search bar on the website, and this will show up too. So that works just fine. So we've got all these dies I'm showing you here, which I've shown you before. And somebody was nice enough to say, because I said, this almost looked like a camera die. No, that is the door to the camper. But for today's project, we're going to use the camper outline, the chair, and the campfire. So I've got that. Excuse me, I've got some allergies going on. You know, we got a little bit of rain yesterday, kind of green things up, and that's all it takes sometimes is one day of that, right? Okay, just want to also point this out to you. Lois Anderson, her host code started yesterday. Thank you for those that have already ordered. You can use my current March host code that's still available, as well as hers. You can order more than once and get a gift from me and get the cards that I make. Originally, I had told Lois, and I might reach out to her after tomorrow to see how tomorrow goes. I have stamp camp coming up here in my home next week, Thursday, so a week from tomorrow. So tomorrow is definitely my planning day of getting the projects, and if I can have a good day of planning the projects, I might actually start her demos ahead of time before April 7th when I told her. So so keep that in mind too. So I'd love to see more people signing up. In fact, if you come to my stamp camp here at my home, you're going to leave with your own copy of the new annual catalog, which is weeks ahead of time compared to what Stampin' Up! Would mail out your copy to you. So I would just wanted to let you know that as well. All right, let me get on with making the card, because that is probably most likely why you tuned in. The card base is Knight of Navy. I love blues, you guys, just love it. So putting this card together was really fun. The Countryside Inn Designer Series paper, that was a carryover. Whoops, let me just set this down. I had two papers in my hand. So if you see these designs in these papers, then you might go, oh yeah. So some of them had like the bunnies, which would be really cute for spring now that we're back into that season again, and just the fox and different cute things in here. So I thought, oh, that would be fun to get some of this darker paper and do more of like a floral look to camping, but yet still bringing in the wildlife. So since the Countryside Inn Designer Series paper has been around now for 2 catalogs, and I didn't see it in the annual catalog, I'm not saying that it's going to online exclusives. It might, but just know that it might be going soon. So if you don't have it yet and you like it, this might be a good product to get your hands on. Hello there, Carol. Good to have you on here. All right, so what I'm going to do is start by assembling these 2 pieces onto the card base, both from Countryside Inn DSP. So this is cut 3 inches by 5 1/4, and I'm just going to put that on here right away. And this is actually the same piece of paper here. So this is just the back side or front side, however you want to say that. So the first one, 3 inches by 5 1/4. And then before I put this one down, I'm just going to remeasure. So this one is 2 inches by 5 1/4. And I just want to make sure that my fox is the right side up before I start to tear. Because, you know, I can get all excited about that and then realize, oh, I tore the paper, so now it's upside down. And that would kind of defeat the look of having this tear in the middle. Sometimes I like to kind of ruffle the edge. I don't think I need too much here, just because there's going to be things that are going to be going on top of that. And now this is ready to be put down on my card base. And so I'm just kind of eyeing the edge so that that lines up, and then kind of trying to keep that 1/4 inch look there and making sure that lines up there. So that turned out pretty well. Now let's do some stamping. So I'm just going to set that aside while we build. So that's going to be the background to our scenery backdrop. And I've got this cute little camper here. So I'm going to put that on my strip of basic white. And then we've got the fun little camping chair here. So I'm just going to stamp that out. All of this is in the Memento black ink. So this has been like on I shouldn't say back order. We don't have back orders now, but it's been out of stock for so long, you guys. And it looks to be in, they're saying, next week. And I check on it daily just with hopes that what if it would come in just a little bit early, but it was supposed to be in like a couple weeks ago. And every time I checked then, it just would get pushed back. So I'm hoping that we can catch up with that, because to me a basic black ink pad that is as great as our Memento is just as necessary as basic white cardstock. Okay, let me try and get this guy lined up. Just when I thought it was lined up, yeah, it wants to move. I think it's lined up when I have all the pressure of my fingers on it, and as soon as I let go, it moves. All right, I'm gonna see if I can put the fire pit on. And that's going to be too close. So I think I'm just going to do the camper first and get that run through, and then I'm going to go back and catch the chair and the fire pit. All right, got that. Some people that were able to make this cards already so far at a class, they enjoyed the coloring. They weren't so sure. And I think like anything, you look at it and go, oh, we have to do coloring. But then they realized, you know, there wasn't a lot to the coloring. I always try and make the coloring as simple as possible. And most of my classes are a 6-card setup. So I always tell them I'm only going to require them to color usually on a couple of the projects, not all of them. So that if they like coloring, they'll get to color. If they don't always enjoy coloring, then it's not all coloring either. So that helps. All right, we've got the cute little chair. Look how it even cuts out those legs like that. And we've got the cute little fire pit. I was telling people, I used to play with Barbies way older than probably normal people should play with Barbies. My friend and I, we would just rotate going to each other's houses excuse me, and it was almost like, do we dare tell people that we're playing Barbies, because we're just having so much fun, right? All right, so let me actually get the camera a little bit closer. I haven't done this for a while. I like to do that when I'm using my blends, just so people can kind of see how I'm putting things together. I think I'm going to start with my fire pit here, and for the base of that, I've got dark and light gray granite, and I'm going to start with my dark first and just kind of go across the middle here with my dark, and then just go down the lines of the fire pit, and then just kind of outline that there and leave that just like so. And then I'll come back with the lighter gray granite and do the top and do that. This kind of looks like my fire pit. When we first moved to the country, I told my husband I wasn't thrilled about moving from town to the country, and if I could have a fire pit, that might convince me. And the next day he brought me back out and said, I want you to take another look at this place. And he had taken an old tire rim and just plopped it down into a spot that would make a good fire pit place. And basically we've upgraded it and put like the little pavers around it like this looks like, and it stayed kind of in that spot, and it's kind of a fun memory. And yes, we did end up moving out here, and I love it. All right, so the colors I've added there are Daffodil Delight and Pumpkin Pie, and I just kind of blended as they met in the middle there. So the fire pit's all done there. And then I'm going to switch over to the chair. And for the chair, I'm going to grab some light and dark boho blue. I love these boho blue colors. And keep in mind that boho blue, and I know you're going to get tired of me saying this, it's a retiring color. So get on ordering things like that, because once they officially announce it, I always like to be ahead of the game. I feel like once they officially announce it, then everybody goes crazy like it's new news. Although we all know that these colors, these 5 colors are going to be retiring. So I just went on one side of the chair and did the dark boho blue, and I just am going to come back and blend those edges where they meet to give that some depth there. The cute little chair. You could actually make a scene, create more than one chair if you wanted it to kind of represent your family. That would be kind of fun too. All right. Hi there, Lisa. Thanks for joining in. Now let's go after this guy. I've seen this camper colored in so many different ways, but I thought, well, let's kind of stick with our backdrop here and coordinate in a fun way. So that's why I'm using lots of blues. So for this, I'm going to start with the little awning, and I'm just going to do every other one. Sometimes coloring on camera can be daunting because there's so much pressure to stay in the lines. And yet I have to go, okay, I'm just coloring a car, pretend nobody is watching. And it's not too bad. Like these are smaller things on the camper, but yet not terrible. So they're easy to get into there. And then, oh, I'm just going to go this, and this is the dark Night of Navy. I'm just going to circle this tiny little hole there, window on the door here. And then next I'm going to come back with basic black. This is probably the most like interesting color choice for the caps, but this is the light basic black. Oops. And oops. Off camera, just a little bit of snafu of getting the oh my goodness, the cover off. And I know they had a little bit of trouble with us at the class. There we go. Got it. Okay, so now this I'm going to go over the tires with the light basic black. And like I said, this could be colored in any way, because how fun would it have, you know, to be a mystery machine or something like that. I've seen people make it almost look like taco trucks, or, you know, like pink Barbie vans and such. And then I'm going to get these little bumpers or fenders here on the front and the back in that basic black color too. Okay, so we got that, and then let's get some shaded spruce. This is the light shaded spruce, and I'm just going to come in here where the plant is in that window there, and so that's going to add a little bit of fun color. And let's go back to the boho blue. I'm going to start with the dark, and I'm just going to go around the door here on the edges. I'm just going to make the steps all the dark color right off the get-go. And we're going to pretend that that's darker just because it gets dirty as everybody steps on it, right? I'm just going to fill in a little bit more too around the edges of the window hole there. And then I'm going to fill the rest in with the light boho blue, catching the edges so that that blends. And then this window box here of plants is just going to all be the light boho blue. And then I'm going to bring back the gray granite and just kind of fill in the rest. So sometimes coloring can be just kind of the process of elimination, like just coloring in, and then it's like filling in whatever is left. So I'm just going to go down the edges here, and I'm just going to fill in the spots where the awning kind of connects, hopefully not getting too much of the white awning pieces so that they stay white. And then just go down that, catch the edges, and around here. And I'm just going to fill in the window, or not the window, the wheel wells right away with gray granite too. And that could be either light or dark. And anytime there's kind of the sketch artist put those little details in the black lines, I kind of just go over those in a darker color too. It's kind of like painting. Once you get the outline done, then the rest is pretty easy to fill in. Okay, got that. And then I'm leaving some white spaces too for like the window and like the window of the door and the other parts. Okay, and I'm just making sure I'm grabbing the light. Yep, light gray granite. And then we're about done here. Yeah, it's not often that I choose to pick a project that has a ton of coloring. But like I said, I think people that were at the event that made this, they were surprised how fast it went together. And one person brought her grandkids, and so they did some coloring, and that was kind of fun to see that too. All right, so here we have it. How cute and adorable is that? I love it just on its own, but then when I put it on here, it just kind of like the white spots that I've left white just make everything pop. So that makes it fun too. So before I start assembling this onto here, there's only a couple more steps to make that happen. I'm going to use the moon and the stars stamp, and I'm going to put that in the Memento black ink also, like I have with everything. So this whole card is made with the Memento black ink. And then I decided, you know, it'd be kind of fun to have a couple trees as like a silhouette in the background. Could even do a couple more. I don't even know if those that I added will show up because I'm going to put the van over top. And then here we go. We have got the happy campers, and I just need a little strip of basic white. Since I'm stamping, I'm going to get that stamped out too. Somebody had thought, and I could see why, oh, my happy isn't as dark as my campers, and it's how the image is on the stamp. So the happy is like done in the cursive, and the campers is a little bit bolder. So I love it when Stampin' Up! Kind of surprises us with little things like that too. Okay, so I'm going to get the ink pad out of the way and then start my assembly here. Let's get some dimensionals. I'm going to grab one dimensional, and that's about all it takes to pop up the fire pit. Get that off there, and so that's going to go in the corner, and then another dimensional for the cute little chair. Like I said, you could always add more chairs. You just kind of have to watch where the rest of your things go. So we've got that sitting there. And then the camper, gonna get some dimensionals on that. about 4 or so on there. Get those papers off. And yeah, the trees that I originally put on, some people stamped it before they put this on, but it doesn't really matter so much because it's just going to be, as you can see, the trees kind of peeking up there in the background. So I'm going to put that up so the camper's a little bit higher. Actually, I want it to look, I want the camper to be up even higher. So I'm going to make my trees taller. Okay. There, I like that a little bit better. I just wanted more of this to stick up over the piece of paper that I've torn. So I've got that. And then this happy campers, I'm just going to trim down like so. And then I'm just going to trim an edge piece of my dimensionals off to get that nice like skinny little piece there. And I'm just going to put this up at an angle like that. All right, so now I'm going to back up my camera because sometimes having it too close, I often don't watch my replays. I don't like doing that. And so, whoops, here we go. That way I'm not so close to the camera. So for embellishments, because there's a lot going on with the different papers and the coloring and everything, I almost left it, but then I thought, you know, it'd be kind of fun just to add some basic rhinestone jewels. Kind of one of those things that I hope Stampin' Up! Never does away with, and it always just fits in so well. So I'm just going to put 3 of these and just going to find 3 stars and just put it kind of over top those stars. So now we kind of have a little bit of a sparkle in the sky, and I think that kind of adds to it without trying to find where is the embellishment with the busy paper and everything else going on. For the inside, that's going to just be quick and easy. And I'm going to go back to the tree here. And there's 2 trees in the stamp set. This is the shorter, smaller one. I'm going to do that in black just because everything else on the card is black. And there's also the sentiment, let the adventure begin. And I think this could just be so fun for like graduation or retirement. Or any, you know, any kind of adventurous type thing too. Like some people might be even switching jobs or something like that. Or you could just make the happy camper card and make the inside be a happy birthday for people that just love to camp too. So that's always a good option as well. I know I need to make one of these for my brother-in-law. He has a May birthday coming up. And I know it's like only March, but like next week's April. And so I like to be ahead of the game. And so this would be a good one for him. His wife would love it too because they do a ton of camping. They're very adventurous. So this would be great for that. So hello, Lois. So there we have today's card just for some inspiration. Lois just popped on. And so, yeah, for those of you that are joining later, Lois's host code has already started. The card that I'm making today is totally separate from her party. Like I said, if tomorrow goes well for planning for Stamp Camp, maybe Friday I could do a card for her. So you'll see and know once I'm either on live or not, just depending on how the day goes. Let's see, let me get my camera turned around. But yeah, please, if you're local, consider coming to Stamp Camp here at my home on Thursday next week, April 3rd. I would love to see more people. My sign-up's low, and sometimes I think the people are slower to sign up at the one in my house, and I don't know if it's because they think, oh, she lives there, she's going to be there, so I can, you know, show up versus maybe a different location. I don't know, but I would love to see more people, because the other fun thing about coming, besides I earlier said that those people that are showing up will get the annual catalog in their hands. You'll get to walk out the door with that. I always make something yummy, and I already have some desserts planned, some sweet treats. So that's kind of one of the things that I enjoy about getting ready for my in-home personal Stamp Camp too. So hope to see some of you there. Take care. Bye-bye.